It's several decades since I was a student at Queen Elizabeth College in Darlington, but it was 2 years that I enjoyed very much. And I actually managed to dig out a photograph of the time when I was there. And this is a photograph of the drama group. At that time, I was working in the background, not on the stage. But this picture is actually taken on the stage in the QE Hall. I'm now going to turn to your criminology questions and hopefully offer you some insights, although bear in mind it might necessarily be my opinion rather than Labour Party policy.
Can lack of participation in inmates affect the length of their sentence or ability to be allowed back into the community?
Well, I visit prisons. I have a prison here in my constituency in Stockton, and I'm always very mindful of the time that prisoners have to spend in their cells. There's no doubt in my mind that the more time that they can have doing activities, whether that's education or work or, recreation, the better it is for the prisoner. But it's not just better for the prisoner, it's better for the whole prison system. It's better for prison officers because you get less trouble, you get more engaged prisoners, and that chance of rehabilitation is much greater. So I think we should have more of it, certainly not less.
How many inmates are there in the average prison at any one time?
I don't know if there is such a thing as an average prison. Some of them have as many as 4,000 prisoners. I know Durham, I think, has around 2,500. Here in Stockton, we have 1,200. So there's not really much of an average, really, but many, many thousands of people in the system.
Do different prisons have different rules and privileges within the UK?
Yes, there's no doubt that different prisons have different rules and different opportunities within them. It depends on the category of prison. Here in Stockton, it's a Category C prison, and so there's a lot more flexibility for training and doing work. Whereas in a Category 1 prison, it's much more tight and maybe less opportunity for that sort of recreation and less opportunity maybe to earn the privileges that, some prisons can offer, such as being able to shop and simple tasks like that, or even being able to watch the television. So it does vary across different prisons, and I've visited a few of them now, and I've seen some considerable differences.
How does religion and sexual orientation affect which prison you may attend? For example, are Muslim inmates able to pray at given times throughout the day, even if it does not fit the prison timetable?
Now, I was asked if I would choose which I thought was the best question. I don't know if I want to have a best question, but this one is probably the most difficult. To be honest, I don't really know the answer to that question. I know that prisons are supposed to offer people in different situations, different facilities. I don't think there's any segregation of any type like that, except where we have violence involved. So, to be honest, I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll have to do some more research.
Do you think there is a national shortage of police?
I do think there's a national shortage of police. We've lost 500 here in the Cleveland area alone. That's just covering the 4 boroughs, and that doesn't include, of course, the Durham force where Darlington is covered. There's no doubt in my mind that we need more police out there, visible to the public. That's what the public want to see. But of course, I'm always aware that there are many people in the background going and doing various different things day to day. So there are more in the system than people might believe.
How effective do you think the criminal justice system is?
Well, that's an interesting question, because as I sit here today, we're facing a situation where there are over 500,000 criminal cases that aren't currently before the courts. Some of that's increased because of the coronavirus, but there's still this tremendous backlog in the courts. So to some extent, the courts aren't really fit for purpose at the moment to play their role in the criminal justice system. But generally speaking, the system does work, although many of us would like to see many more convictions, particularly around issues like rape and offences of that nature, but so much more needs to be done.
Do you think the police take urban crime more seriously than rural crime?
You might be very interested to know, but then of course you live in this area, that my constituency is mainly rural. The vast majority of the people live in the urban inner cities, and they probably do see a little bit more attention. But when I talk to farmers and others, they tell me that there are major issues with rural crime. People pinching farm implements, farm machinery, and believe it or not, even sheep and cows will actually turn up and steal them. So there does need to be some sort of emphasis on them as well. But of course, the concentration does tend to be on the big estates and in the town centres. So I suppose the answer to your question is yes.